I'm in a bit of a yap mood. Um, I just want to talk about like how important mindset is. It's looked over a lot because it's a buzzword. It's one of those discipline words. It's one of those motivation words. It's one of those things you hear all the time. So people overlook them and think they're cringe, right? But the source of why it became a big subject in the first place is because it's important. So I just want to bring it back and explain why mindset's important, and why you have a good mindset, why it's important, right? And you can talk about why having a positive mindset's important, so you block out the negative and whatever. But the real reason is, right, is when you have a certain belief, a certain way of thinking, right, you look for stuff externally to prove your own beliefs and to prove your own concepts and to prove your mindset, right? And that's why you get these people with such firm beliefs about certain topics. Could be good, could be left, could be right, whatever. So when you have, let's talk about thinking that you're a lucky person and thinking that you're an unlucky person. And you've probably heard this before because a lot of people talk about it. But people talk about it because it's important, right? If you have the mindset that you're a lucky person, right, you're going to be constantly looking for indicators in reality that prove you're this thing, that you're this lucky person, right? It could be something as small as you're approaching a set of lights and it's red, but as soon as you get there, before you stop the car, it turns green, and that momentum keeps going and go, I'm just a lucky person. Or it could be the opposite thing of like, and like if you talk about the unlucky side, it could be that you're approaching, it's green, and then it suddenly goes amber and then red, right? Someone who thinks they're unlucky will see that as, oh, I'm just an unlucky person, right? Now let's talk about something more business related, right? You're doing cold calls, right? This what I was doing for, probably like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. I'm doing cold calls, whatever. I've done 40 cold calls. No, I've done 39. The 40th one, I booked a call, right? Because I have the idea that I'm a lucky person. I took that and went, see, I'm a lucky person. 5% booking rate. Well, it's not 5%, but I talked to 20 gyms, so I'm 5%, right? But someone who thinks they're unlucky will see that and be like, fuck, it took me 40 calls to book one appointment. I'm so unlucky, man. I'm so bad at this, right? Just having that change in mindset pulls different things into reality. And so you get all this evidence to confirm your beliefs, but the evidence is skewed by the mindset you have in the first place. And it's a bit of a chicken and egg problem. Like, what happens first, the mindset or the evidence? And yeah, so if you instill mindsets in yourself and you try to believe them, all right, let me just stop there, right? You're probably thinking, okay, but how do I gain, if it's a chicken and egg problem, how do I start believing certain things that I don't already believe because I haven't got the evidence for it? How do I start creating these mindsets? You gotta artificially do it, right? I said it's a chicken and egg, but it's not really. You want to start with the mindset, right? And if you're gonna artificially do it, you have to start with the mindset. And I've done this ages ago through like just doing this shit, right? But if I had to explain how to do it, that's what I'm gonna do now. You gotta start with the mindset, okay? What could it be? Staying positive. You're lucky. You're always learning. You're always getting better. Stuff like that. When you have that, you're always getting better, right? And then you treat all the wins as wins, but you treat all the losses as learning, right? And the steps to learning, the failures are just feedback, right? Each failure is feedback to push you closer to that win, right? And yeah, how do you further do this, okay? Through the music you listen to, right? You only want to listen to like music about whatever your goals are, right? Even in the morning, right? Subliminals. If you don't know what subliminals are, pretty much when you wake up and the first moment when you wake up, your brain is the most attached to the subconscious, right? And the subconscious is where all your beliefs come from, all your mindsets come from, all your like close to primal motives come from, right? And so when you first wake up and just before you go to bed, you can't really do the one just before you go to bed because you don't know when you're subconscious because you're falling asleep, right? And if you're doing something actively, you're conscious before you go to sleep anyway. So as soon as you wake up, right, this is where so just terminating an ad. When you wake up, you're as close to your subconscious as you can possibly be to take any action to affect your subconscious, right? So going back to subliminals, right? What you can do, right? I don't do this, but the most optimal way of doing it is recording yourself under a specific frequency and just saying, I make 50K a month, I make whatever, I have a dream physique, whatever, right? But you say these things as they actually happen and that you've had them in the third person, but in the future, right? So you can do it like that. I'm not sure what the frequency is because I don't do it, right? But I've heard of it. What I do, because I've been a bit lazy with it, is on my feed, on my Instagram feed, whenever I see something that I'm like, okay, that is motivating me, or that is what I want to do, or like that is the mindset that I want to adopt, I saved it in a folder, right? And I call it my 10 morning subliminals. I cannot say this word to save my life. So as soon as I wake up, the first thing I do, and sometimes I fall asleep while doing it because that's how like close to being asleep I am, right? I open that folder and I'm there sleeping and I'm just scrolling with my finger, right? And I let the video play out. I scroll it again and I can tell you exactly what it is because it's in my head. One of the videos is the sign of success in the beginning is the hate that you get along the way because you don't have the results and there is no evidence that you're actually succeeding. So the one indicator, and it's not a lagging indicator, it's the leading indicator that you're doing something right, is the hate that you get along the way. The other ones are like Greg Plitt. If you know Greg Plitt, you know he's a G, right? He talks about like the cold water does get warmer the longer you wait and all the bullshit. Another one is some bodybuilders talking about like they want a better life, they want a different life, and they're like, this life is not for me, that like resonates. It's just stuff that resonates with you, or you want to think like that in the future, or you want to be like that in the future. And that is how you can solve the whole mindset and evidence chicken and egg problem, right? Because once you start having those subliminals, and those subliminals help you create the beliefs and the mindset, you start looking for things in reality. And then those things in reality, those evidence will further reinforce the beliefs. And that's how you get the great mindset. Because you have to, if you haven't started that way and you brought up a different way, you have to artificially make your mindset. You have to actively take actions to do it. Anyway, if you understand what I'm saying, let me know. Like, just give a thumbs up or something. If I need to like explain it better, just put a thumbs down in the comments. And yeah, because I'm trying to get better at explaining things. And yeah, here we are. Ciao.